In your wildest dreams, can you ever think of any time when there is a positive spin to some of the fear you may be experiencing in a circumstance? Let's talk about that today. Hello and welcome back, and today we're going to have a very interesting conversation, and I know you probably think I'm a crazy lady. How can you ever think about fear as being something that's positive in your life? When I was a young girl, and you think about it too, when you were young, I was fearless. I was not afraid of anything. I would do anything. I would dive off of high diving boards. I would jump into a creek when it was freezing cold. I would do anything, and I would perform in front of people. I was a young cheerleader. I was get up in front of people. I was absolutely not afraid of anything. And then my 12th year came into my life, and I got rheumatic fever, and I was in bed for 4 months, and it really affected my entire self-esteem. When I went back to school, I was thought of as the sick girl. I felt embarrassed. I didn't feel confident, and all of a sudden, fear was ruling my life. I was afraid to do everything, and my knees would knock and my heart would pound when I was asked to sing in church. I could do it before, but after that experience, I was so afraid. So I didn't volunteer for anything. I went to a little ballet class, and when they wanted me to do In Your Easter Bonnet solo because I had a good voice, I quit dancing lessons because I was so afraid. And I am telling you now, once I grew up and I realized that fear is not such a bad thing. And when I used fear to propel me to do things that I thought I could never do in life, that's when I harnessed fear to work in my favor. Do things not because of fear, but in spite of fear. Whatever challenge you have ahead of you, whatever you are afraid of, if your knees are knocking and your heart is pounding, use that energy to say, I don't think I can. I know I can. And use that fear to propel you to go ahead and do it. When I did my first stage performance, I was really prepared. I knew all of my lines. I knew everything, everybody else's lines. But when I was on the side of that stage, my knees were knocking, my heart was pounding. But I knew that I had to use that fear to propel me out there and know that I could do it. And the more I did it, the better I became, because I overrode my fear, and I used it as a tool to give me energy to say, I can do this, not because of fear, but I can do this in spite of fear. Doing builds confidence. The more you override your fear of doing anything, the more confident you will become and able to do the thing that you are afraid of. Fear and overriding fear comes from experience, not dopamine in your brain. The more you rewrite your brain, the more you tell your brain, I can do this, not because of fear, but in spite of fear, you're telling your brain, hey, wait, she can do this. She's done it before, and she can do this again. Approach everything in life that you are afraid of by telling yourself, I am not doing this because of fear. I am doing this in spite of my fear. Carrying that fear in your pocket, knowing that you feel it, your knees feel it, your heart feels it, your stomach feels it, but use it as a tool because it's there, you know it's there, but in spite of it, you are going to go ahead and do what you're afraid of. Now, I don't know if any of this makes sense, but try it, and you will find if you use your fear in a positive way instead of a negative way, the more you override that fear of whatever it is you're afraid of, the easier it will be for you to do it because you're telling your brain, hey, I can do this. I'm going to be okay. It's not a life or death situation. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope to see you again in my next video. Remember, you're always loved and you're never alone. Take care, and I will see you soon.